if you want to succeed in business and don't happen to have like $42 million lying around that you can spend in advertising to tell everybody who you are, it's vitally important that you are able to answer one question for your audience, which is this: what makes you different than the other alternatives that are offering what you offer? In other words, why should someone buy from you? Why should they follow and pay attention to you? Why should they, if you're in the expert market, what makes you their expert of choice? You've got to be able to answer this question for other people. And this is called differentiation. What is it that makes you different than everyone else? And for many, many years, I've been involved in teaching marketing for literally longer than most of the people who are watching this have been alive. And one of the things that I've seen change during that time is how differentiation actually happens in the real world. So unfortunately, what in most cases, differentiation is the single most ignored thing that someone does when they put together a business. They think, okay, I got to get a corporation. I got to get a domain name. I got to get a brand. I got to get my colors. I got to get what I'm going to offer. But the single most important thing is, why should someone buy from you and not your competitors? And so they ignore that piece, and that costs them hugely because people don't know why they should buy from you rather than someone else. And so this is vitally essential, even though most people ignore. So let's look at some things that differentiation can be based upon. So differentiation can be, hey, your expertise, because you've been able to do these things, or you've studied this and you're able to teach people these things. Your training, hey, I've got a master's degree, or I've got a 6th level black belt in this particular area, or whatever it is. It can be your experience. So it can be, hey, I help people who have ADHD who've been through a divorce because, hey, I've got ADHD and I've been through a divorce myself and I've studied all the expert device and everything. And so your experience can actually be a major part of this. In fact, if you go look at like the professional speaker, the motivational speaker space, it's full of these people who they really don't have anything else that would cause them to be considered to be an expert, but they've got something that's happened in their life that enables them to be able to talk about it. It can be accomplishments. Hey, I've started 3 companies and sold them for over $50 million each. Those are accomplishments that you can talk to people. Or we can get into some softer kinds of skills that I would argue are, in today's world, probably even more important than those things. Who cares if you've climbed Mount Everest 6 times? What really matters to them is, does your personal style of teaching and thinking about life match theirs? Or how about this one? Is your perspective one that they honor and respect and are interested in getting in their own life also? So here's the thing. Some of the things I just gave you in that list of things that you can do to base your differentiation on, some of them can be stated. I've built 3 companies to over $50 million and sold them. And, those can be like resume items. Those are the kinds of things that go in your introduction when you're going to speak or be a webinar guest or something like that. But here's the thing. Others of them, you can't really say them, you have to demonstrate them. And I would argue that today, especially in today's world of social media, it is this part, the demonstration part, is not only more important than it ever was before, it's a bigger piece of people making a decision than it ever has before. Because it's like, who cares what you've done if you say things in a way that just doesn't work for me? If you're offensive to me, if you're too soft or too hard or too loud or too soft or whatever it is, I don't fit with you. And so I would argue that the best way to claim differentiation in the market is to demonstrate differentiation in the market. Is take those softer things and turn them into the core of your differentiation. So in other words, what you do is instead of telling them, this is my resume, you show them how you can help them. And how do you do that? You do that by doing that, by actively, regularly showing people how you can help them. And so what this involves you choosing some kind of platform where your audience hangs out, where you can speak to them and regularly communicate with them so that they can say, hey, this is my person. I want to follow this person. I want to buy from this person. I want this person to be my expert on this particular subject. And so you need to choose some kind of platform. For example, going live every day on Facebook. You need to choose something where you combine reach, so there's a lot of your target audience is there, with frequency, because almost nobody has the ability to get all of their target audience all together at the same time to pay attention to them. So what you need to do is you need to frequently be there in this thing that has a lot of reach, so that they have over and over and over again, they get a chance to be exposed to your demonstration of your differentiation. Wow. Now there's a sentence for you. And so in today's world, it's very important that you have a regular, constantly in their face way of communicating to them. Basically, where you're interrupting their lives to show them demonstrations of how you work with them. And then it's also important that you back this up with some always on confirmation of this. Because here's what oftentimes happens. Let's say you've got a podcast, and that's the tool that you decided that's because it's got a lot of reach, and you can do frequency, once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, whatever it is, and you've got it out there, and people might stumble into you. Maybe you've been a podcast guest or something like that. They stumble into you, and then they say, I want to see if this person, okay, I was impressed hearing that one thing for 5 minutes. Now I want to go see if it's backed up by other stuff. And so then they Google you, and they go and they start to read your blog posts, your articles. They start to read about you, what other people have written about you, reviews, as well as commentaries, as well as people citing you in articles and things like that. They go watch your videos. They go, all those things are this body of continuity. And so the art in today's world of communicating your differentiation is not so much have a great resume, it's showing them how good you are, and you balance presence, this interruptive piece where you're consistently in front of them, with this continuation, which is a body of work that's quality, that when they Google you, they can find out more about you and get access to it. So it's this regular presence, which is interruptive, followed by a body of work that is constantly out there showing who and what you are. I hope all this makes sense. This is actually sort of a different way of thinking and teaching than it's been done before. Before we used to say, hey, go get something that's a statement that you can make to people. This is why you should buy from me and not my competitor. Now it's turning into a lot more of, hey, I've watched this person for 6 months be live every night. I want to follow this. I want to buy. I want to get this next piece from them. So my question for you is, how are you going to do that? So You don't have to do the tool that I use. I like going live every day because it sort of fits my life and how I think and how I do things. But for you, it might be to do reels, come out with 57 seconds of content that goes up 6 times a day on your channel. It might be TikToks. It might be a podcast. It might be a whole channel on YouTube that has 100 videos on it. It might be speaking on people's stages. It might be being a regular speaker on online events. It might be, we could go on and on and on. Hey, you could go speak to your town Kiwanis clubs. Whatever it is, you're looking for this combination of interruptive and a body of work. How are you going to do that? I invite you to seriously consider this because it really is key to your future success. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.